Right now, everyone in the XRP army needs to pay attention. We already saw how it changed XRP Spring, and now the XRP is going against all odds. Let's watch this movie together. I can't wait to tell you some things. I pray for everyone in the world right now because other things are much worse. Conflict is never a good thing. No matter where you are, we always want these problems to be solved quickly and calmly, and I really think that will happen. But I can't say for sure, and no one else can either. But I'm very hopeful that everything will be okay. But first, we need to talk about it. Since that's what I do here, let's talk about how it affects XRP. That's why I shoot. It's to let you know what's going on. XRP, all of these things are connected, which is sad. That's what I'm going to talk about in today's movie. The flow of money, politics, power, and other things. Politics aren't important, so feel free to leave. But if you really want to know what's going on with XRP, you might want to stay and listen. In order to be fair, I won't be taking a side. With that out of the way, you should know that things are getting tough. It was just reported that a US base in Qatar was attacked. This has made a lot of people scared and make them wonder, what does this mean? Yes, does this mean things will get worse? That being the case, will stocks and other assets just fall apart? Like, all of these are good ideas that should be talked about and given a lot of attention. That's why this video is about the money side of things. We need to know what will happen with the US and how they'll react first, though, because that will have a big effect on how things go here. So the US is now officially part of the fight against Iran. Let's talk about what we know about this rocket attack. Iran even called Qatar ahead of time and told people to leave the places because of the news. Iran's main goal is to get back at the US for what they did yesterday. They said they would answer, and they did. We hope that's the end of it now. That's your call. The US to decide how to respond. They can respond badly. They could try to find peace. They could say anything. Let's see what happens. But Qatar also said the following. They have the right to say something about this. This took place in Qatar, which means that the country may now start to get involved, right? It's clear that they should also answer. We also know that both Israel and Qatar are US friends. Thus, Qatar is facing a lot more stress as there are US military bases all over the country. Okay, but let's see what happens. For now, passenger planes can't fly in the airspace around Iran, Qatar, the UAE, and Israel. This is the right thing to do. Clear that. A lot of things that are bad for planes will be flying through the air. Yes, those are all things we need to pay attention to. At first, Bitcoin fell below $100,000, 0 cents per coin, and XRP fell back below $2, 0 cents per coin after the attack. The price dropped to about $196, 0 cents, but things began to get better. I think Bitcoin is back to 101 now, and XRP is back to TAC 2.3. XRP is still higher than it was before the attack, though it's moving a bit because the markets are so unstable right now. This really makes us both wonder, is this kind of violence already priced in? That's what I think will happen more and more, but anything can happen. There is always a chance for bad things to happen, like black swan events, but when it comes to digital assets, things look pretty good for now. It's clear that things that make money, like money production and liquidity flow, will now have a bigger effect on how much people think XRP is worth. Bitcoin and other digital goods will go up or down in value. Short term, this could be good for the price of XRP. Perspective, I'll explain why soon. Of course, nothing is set in stone and no one has a magic wand. Based on our study, that's all we could come up with for that part of things. I only want to talk about odds based on past cases. By zone, there are also some signs. Support zones and defense lines are really important to me. I want you all to pay attention to what they say right now. We still don't know what the US will do. Even right now, President Trump is meeting with the US Defense Secretary and the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the Situation Room. They will decide how to handle the issue and tell us more about it until everything seems to work out. We don't know. We can't be sure of what will happen or how things will turn out. This is the next important sign we need to look out for that I'm going to do. If we know more about what the future holds. This is how I'll decide what to do. I'm going to talk about the signs and what they mean. Now that that's over, I do think we are starting to see we're going to look better than we have in a long time from a technical point of view. I sound a bit like Trump when I talk, but I'm getting off track. Once more, we can see the really strong signs. The stochastic RSA is crossed, which means the price has been too low and could start to rise again. We hit this cross on the same day that our green light went out, as you could see. 4 days in a row of red candles meant we were about to be overdone, right? It's a good sign. It makes me happy. Also, if we look at the support lines for the FEB, we can see that we've regularly hit the bottom of support. Looks like we'll get back to the middle line, which is around $210, 0 cents right now. I do think it will go up. In the next few weeks, this could go up to $210, 0 cents, $2.20, or even $2.30. I feel sorry for 7 days. Yeah, I think that's possible. I think that could happen sometime in the next week. That's why I'm getting ready for it with my futures options and the way I trade. If I want to keep my spot for a long time, I only buy on red days. I have a lot of buys and longs, and I've been combining my orders. I think there's a lot of room for big gains here, especially if we get any good news about the situation I've been talking about, even if it's bad news about geopolitics. You already know that more traffic is coming from agencies, which is okay. We can already see that there's a very good chance that the price of XRP will change in important ways. Right now, the odds are in our favor, as I already said. It might sound crazy to say yes, but black swan events can still happen, like curveballs. Still, I'm ready to buy on the dips if the curveball does come out. Based on the charts and other information I have access to, I know that the reward is much higher than the risk right now. That's how I see it right now. Do not take that as money advice. That is what I see. That is just my view based on what I have seen and done. And to be honest, I'm doing great. In the last 6 months, I've had a 100% win rate in futures trading. And I've also been dropping my average loss, or I can buy or sell my spot holdings. Those are two great things. That's out of the way. I'm ready for either way we go. I want you to know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it so you can avoid making the same mistakes I did. You can see all of my trades in every futures entry and exit, as well as how much leverage I'm using, where I'm putting my trigger orders, and so on. I want to make it clear that I'm not giving business tips in my Discord group.